तो हम सीधे रुक करना चाहेंगे न्यूयॉर्क का, जहां इस वक्त राष्ट्रीय सुरक्षा सलाहकार पत्रकारों से बात कर रहे हैं शिव शंकर मेनन।
The need for effective action on bringing the perpetrators of the Mumbai attacks to book. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif said that that was indeed Pakistan's intention, and now that the Judicial Commission has just returned to Pakistan after gathering depositions and evidence in India, that there would be further progress on that. There was also some discussion on the other aspects of the relationship, on the need to see that earlier understandings on trade, economic, other relations, but the basic understanding emerging from the meeting was that all that would be possible once we have dealt with the immediate issues and the immediate situation that we face today. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif also mentioned other issues like Siachen, Sir Creek. All those, I think, are issues which are well known. Our overall impression from the meeting was that it was useful because it provided an occasion for high-level contact and discussion on the issues which are troubling the relationship. And this was necessary at this time. We will now see how both sides take it forward over the next few months. I think I'll stop there and maybe open this up to questions from your side.
Please hold on. I will announce the name and then they will bring the mic so that everybody can hear you before you ask the question. Jayanta Ghoshal.
Sir, Jayanta Ghoshal. Sir, any possibility of a concrete mechanism like new committee of DGMO and the Foreign Secretary or something like that?
I think, as I told you, what I said to you was the decision was to task the DGMOs to come up with a clear plan to restore the ceasefire and to make sure that it's enforced and stays in place.
Sheetal, just hold on, please.
मेनन साहब, मेरा सवाल हिंदी में है। शीतल राजपूत, इंडिया न्यूज से। आपने कहा कि बातचीत के पहले आपने ये स्पष्ट कर दिया कि आतंकवाद के मसले को एड्रेस करना प्रिकर्सर है किसी भी बातचीत की शुरुआत के लिए। तो आतंकवाद का मुद्दा किस तरह से उठाया गया नवाज शरीफ साहब के सामने और उसको नवाज शरीफ साहब ने एड्रेस करने के लिए क्या सुझाव दिए या क्या उनका जवाब था?
I think it was clear from what I said to you earlier that the issue of action on Mumbai, on the perpetrators of Mumbai, the issue of terrorism as a whole was mentioned. On the Pakistani side, the Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif mentioned the incidents of terrorism that Pakistan is also suffering from, but he also said that there would be action on the Mumbai cases now that the Judicial Commission has been in India and has gathered depositions and evidence which they could use.
Yes.
Thank you. Ali Imran from Associated Press of Pakistan. You said in the first thing that the Prime Ministers agreed that was to enforce ceasefire along the LOC in Kashmir. Was there any discussion towards restoring the peace process in its entirety? And was there a discussion to commitment towards resolving the underlying cause of tension between the two nations?
My understanding is that both sides wish to see a better India-Pakistan relationship than we have today. And that in this meeting, it was also clear that for both of us, the precondition is really to address the immediate issues that we have, which is to restore peace and tranquility along the line of control. From our point of view, an issue that is very important is to address the terrorism issue and to be making progress on that. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif mentioned many issues from the Pakistani point of view as well, but I think right now our effort is focused on making it possible to move towards the broader dialogue, and that stage hasn't come yet.
Yes, ma'am.
जी मैं पाकिस्तान नए वक्त से हूँ, कॉरेस्पोंडेंट तैयबा ज़िया। मुलाकात बहुत अच्छी रही हमारे लिए, हम बहुत खुश हैं कि हम फिर से ताल्लुकात बनाने जा रहे हैं, लेकिन इंडिया की तरफ से इतनी सख्ती दिखाई जा रही है कि दहशतगर्दी से आगे कुछ सोचने को तैयार नहीं। तो हमारे प्रेसिडेंट तो चाहते हैं आगे चलना, तो आप अगर थोड़ी सी सख्ती कम कर दें, कुछ लचक दिखाएं, नरमी दिखाएं, तो ये सफर चलेगा। आपका क्या ख्याल है?
Lachak? Well, that's your interpretation. What I'm saying to you is the sense that I came away from the meeting from. I'm not going to comment on what you said.
Natasha.
Natasha Srani with Times Now. So there was a lot of eyes on this meeting in terms of questioning what it can achieve and whether it can take even the composite dialogue, which has been stalled for many years, forward. While you have talked about terrorism and the discussion on it, what sense do you get of how Pakistan and India could really get back on track to that higher level, and is that likely at all in the next 1 or 2 years?
As I said, I think both sides want a much better relationship. And the composite dialogue is one of the means towards that. But in order to get there, I think today we are at the stage where we need to address the issues that we face today. We have incidents on the line, we have ceasefire violations, we need to deal with those, we have terrorism-related issues also. We need to address those, and then we'll hope to move it forward. But I'm not an astrologer. I can't tell you the future, whether it will happen in a year, 2 years, or quicker. But the desire was clearly there on both sides to have a better relationship than we have today.
Barka?
So you described the meeting to be useful and necessary at this point. Would you say that assurances you got from Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif on terrorism were satisfactory? Did they address specific Indian concerns, especially with groups like the Lashkar-e-Taiba and Hafiz Saeed? And is there any agreement on when to meet again?
There was no decision on another meeting at this stage. As for how useful and how productive the meeting was, I think the only proof will be in the months to come.
Yes, ma'am.
Maria Kamal from the News, Karachi. My question to you is, you mentioned that for talks to progress between India and Pakistan, terrorism needs to be tackled first. If you could please elaborate specifically what steps, bringing the culprits responsible for the Mumbai attacks, and what actions need to be taken for us to see talks progressing.
I don't think we're going to negotiate this in public through the media. I think both sides know what the issues are. We also know what we have to do, each of us. And I think we know each other well enough, India and Pakistan, that I'm not going to go through giving you a list of steps that must be done, must not be done, and so on.
Yes, sir.
Sir, Iftikhar Ali from Associated Press of Pakistan. Did Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif extend an invitation to Prime Minister?
He did, and
when will the meeting take place? Next
I think he invited Prime Minister Manmohan Singh to visit Pakistan.
Javed.
Prime Minister Manmohan Singh also invited Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif to visit India. They both accepted the invitations. No dates have been set yet.
Mr. Menon, this is Javed Ansari from the TV Today Group. So were there any takeaways at all? What specific takeaways for India?
I thought I'd given you all the takeaways at the beginning.
Like what? So specific?
A common understanding that we will address the specific issues that we have today in order to be able to move forward on the dialogue and to improve the relationship.
Suhasini?
Mr. Menon, when the Prime Minister met with US President Obama, the specific issue of the funding of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa by the Punjab government, something Mr. Sharif's party actually runs, was brought up. Was that specific issue brought up when Prime Minister Manmohan Singh spoke to Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif?
It also came up in the course of the conversation. It did.
Mr. Saleh Zafar.
Saleh Zafar from Jung Group of Newspaper, Pakistan. Mr. Menon, ये बताइए कि ये कहा जाता है कि दोनों वज़ीर आज़म की मुलाकात में दोनों मुल्कों के दाखिली हालात का असर था, और ख़ास तौर पे भारतीय वज़ीर आज़म पर, जबकि बीजेपी इस मुलाकात की मुखालफत कर रही थी और प्राइम मिनिस्टर के लिए बड़ी मुश्किल थी। क्या आप समझते हैं कि माहौल पर जो आपकी गुफ्तगू हुई अंदर, उसका असर आपको वहां दिखाई दिया दोनों तरफ, और खास तौर पर इंडियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर पर? और सवाल आपसे ये करना है कि क्या बलूचिस्तान की सिचुएशन डिस्कशन में आई, जिसके बारे में आपको एविडेंस शर्मुल शेख में पाकिस्तान के देन प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने दिए थे इंटरफियरेंस के? शुक्रिया।
I think we are two sovereign states dealing with each other. And the principle on which we at least act is not to interfere in each other's internal affairs. We are neighbors, and as the Prime Minister has said, you can choose your friends, you cannot choose your neighbors. You have to deal with these issues that we face in the relationship, and we will continue to do so. Balochistan was mentioned. I think Prime Minister has made it clear in the meeting, also in other contexts, that there is no question of India interfering in Pakistan's internal affairs in any way. If there's any evidence of this, we have not seen it. We'd be happy to look into it if it were given to us.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Please
sir.
limit to one question, not more than one each, please.
Sir, Masood Haider, I represent Teledawn newspaper of Pakistan. Thank you very much. My question is that given all the questions that were raised before the meeting about the terrorism and Pakistan also having some reservations and so forth, both Prime Minister said that there is going to be a movement to go forward with it, which you have just mentioned. But the thing is, how many steps can they take? Can they take more steps than what it is now, or they're going to go backward? Thank you.
As I said, my impression from the meeting was it was useful, it was constructive, but you need to deal with the issues as we face them. And we need to, I think, fix what we have right now, then move on to see. But there was clearly desire on both sides for a much better relationship. I mean, that goal, I don't think, is in question. So I'm not sure that we can talk of it going backward. I think what we need to do is to do the hard work of the relationship in the next few months.
Siddharth?
Yes, Siddharth Varadarajan from The Hindu. Mr. NSA, did the situation in Afghanistan figure in the dialogue, and what specific issues, if it did, what specific issues were discussed?
Only in passing.
Raj Chengappa.
Raj Chengappa from the Tribune, Mr. Menon. You had mentioned the unfinished agenda of trade earlier. Was that issue taken up? Was there discussion on granting India MFN finally, which they had promised last September, and moving forward on other issues of trade?
There was some discussion of the MFN issue, of the opening up of the border to increase trade. There was a roadmap which had been agreed earlier, you remember, which has been paused, as it were. And there was some talk of how we could hope to move towards that, but no timetable set, nothing.
Yes, sir.
मिस्टर मेनन, हसन मुजतबा मेरा नाम है, मैं बीबीसी उर्दू का करस्पॉन्डेंट हूँ यहाँ न्यूयॉर्क में। मेरा सवाल ये है कि आप वहाँ भी रहे हैं, जानते हैं कि इस दौरान मुज़ाकरात किसी भी मरहले पर इंडियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर मिस्टर मनमोहन सिंह ने पाकिस्तान के वज़ीर आज़म नवाज शरीफ को अप्रिशिएट किया कि जो उन्होंने स्टैंड लिया हुआ है, क्योंकि इसी स्टैंड पे मिसाल जो है पाकिस्तान में वज़ीर आज़म जो है फांसी के घाट पहुंचाए गए हैं या ओवरथ्रो किए गए हैं, कि उन्होंने जो कहीं इन मुज़ाकरात में डिफेंस बजट रिडक्शन की बात आई, जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर कहते रहे हैं गुज़श्ता 3 दिनों से, पाकिस्तान के प्राइम मिनिस्टर।
There wasn't any mention in this meeting of the defense budget, but it's clear that both Prime Minister Manmohan Singh and Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif spoke of their desire for a better relationship, but they also were very conscious of the difficulties and the issues that stand in the way of that, of realizing that. And that was discussed in some detail during the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Menon, my name is Mohsin Zahir and I'm representing Daily Khabre and Channel 5, New York. And my question is how long the meeting took place, and second is Manmohan Singh.
One question.
Time it, no, but the request, the actual question is, Prime Minister Singh talk about the epicenter of terror in Pakistan. There are many people in Pakistan who have very serious concerns about the epicenter of terror in India. So is there any way India can address the concerns of those people of Pakistan?
So which do you want an answer to? Well, I certainly haven't heard of any such concern. If somebody has any evidence, we'd be happy to look at it. I've said this before, but there is no proof. There is absolutely no proof of any export of terror from India.
Ashish?
I wish I could say the same in reverse.
आशीष फ्रॉम एबीपी न्यूज। सर, आपने अपने ओपनिंग स्टेटमेंट में कहा क्रॉस बॉर्डर वायलेशंस के बारे में जिक्र किया और आपने बताया कि इसमें डीजीएमओ लेवल की बातचीत को और मजबूत बनाने का ऑफर हुआ है। मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं सर कि हाल में जो रिश्तों में तलखी आई है वो जो एलओसी पे वायलेशंस हुए हैं उसको लेकर के आई है, कई भारतीय सैनिक मारे गए। डिफेंस मिनिस्टर ने पार्लियामेंट में कहा कि पाकिस्तान आर्मी का रोल रहा है। क्या इस इशू को पीएम ने रेज किया और क्या प्रधानमंत्री नवाज शरीफ साहब ने इस बात को स्वीकार किया, माना और इस पर कोई कदम उठाने का एश्योरेंस दिया है, किसी कार्रवाई का एश्योरेंस दिया है?
I think I started the briefing by saying exactly that was discussed, that both sides agreed that they need to deal with that issue first, that peace and tranquility on the LOC is a precondition for further movement in the relationship. Both agreed on this, and both have tasked the DGMOs to do so, to restore the ceasefire, to prevent incidents, and to suggest how we do that.
Ranjit?
Ranjit Kumar from Navbharat Times. Is there any timeline set? Is there any timeline set for the two DGMOs to come out with suggestions for effective measures?
No, but we would like it as soon as possible.
As soon as how long, sir?
As I said, no timeline, but we'd like it as soon as possible.
Yes, sir, there in there.
मेनन साहब, सुधाकर दास, दूरदर्शन न्यूज से।